The house that we're interviewing in was the house I grew up in. We moved here in February 1988, so I can't really remember life on the mainland. So my brother and sister were born on the island in 1989 over at St Mary's. My dad passed away in 2000. He moved over here with myself and my mum. My auntie, my uncle and their 2 children also moved over, and my grandparents. So this home was our family home, so it would have been very packed. I think that arrangement lasted for about maybe half a year or a year. Then my auntie and uncle with their 2 children moved out, and we were always busy out and about doing things. Like, I've always loved my summer holidays. I'm now a teacher, so I think they're now doubly important. I always cherish my summer holidays.
And how was school?
I think the vast majority of time I absolutely loved school. I'm grateful I wasn't bullied consistently, but I was bullied a little bit. So I think I always knew I was different. I couldn't always pinpoint it, but the teachers were all very brilliant, and they dealt with it. I think it sharpened my resolve about equality and acceptance whilst I'm in school today, and I don't want any young person to feel like an outsider. I loved all the trips we had when I was at middle school. I remember one to Buckler's Hard over on the mainland. I think that's when I started to really enjoy history. I enjoyed the trip to Osborne House. When I was younger, I worked at Osborne House for 7 years. I loved my history lessons at school. I think particularly when I got into sixth form, I think that's when I found my love of girl power, like women's history and gender history, and that came from my history teachers. Interestingly, one of whom would become my mentor and later my friend. I loved having him as my teacher. It was incredible to have him as my mentor. I didn't realise I was gay when I was at school. I think I was blissfully ignorant when I was at school. And I can remember a friend coming out to me when I was in year 10. I didn't really know what he meant or the significance of that, but I think what I did realise, that I thought, this is important that he's telling me, and I want him to feel that he's done the right thing in telling me. I can recall being asked when I was at university, and I wasn't 100% sure, so I did deny it, and maybe that was the wrong thing to do, because I don't think I could have said yes nor no.
And when did you stop denying it?
I came out or let people in very late. I don't think it was till my late 20s. I think I probably realised maybe in my mid-20s. I think my world had always been centred upon education. I'm possibly thinking about it. Was I consciously or maybe even unconsciously suppressing something that I maybe didn't or wasn't ready to confront? The first people I came out to was my brother and sister. I remember texting them quite late at night, and they replied both very quickly, saying that's fine, and they knew already. I think a lot of people knew before I did that I was gay. My lovely friend Christine, who's a teacher, she said at my wedding, I remember wandering around Appledurker with her, and it's arguably one of the nicest things anyone said to me. She said, I realised you were gay at 15. And I remember saying to her, I wish you would have told me, because I didn't know. But she said, well, that wasn't, no, I shouldn't have done it. It was your thing to discover, and I was ready to embrace and accept it when you were ready to tell me. I went to my first Pride in, it was either 2015 or 16, it was Portsmouth Pride. That was a really special and important event, shocking, exciting, interesting. I went with my lovely friend Laura. I didn't have a clue what Pride was, how it worked, the significance of it. But I asked her, and instantly she said, yes, I'm coming, when is it? I remember my first Isle of Wight Pride, I think that might have been, I think it was 2017, I think that might have actually been the first Isle of Wight Pride. I just thought maybe I'm going to be on the periphery of this, but I challenged and changed my thinking. I thought, actually, I want to make this central to my life and my existence, and I always like to attend Isle of Wight Pride. I like to, where possible, be a part of it. I go where I can to any social events. I promote it openly at school. I feel grateful that I'm able to be out, open and proud at every school I've worked in. I think my approach to being gay at school, whilst I don't say, hello, I'm a gay teacher, I'm very keen to promote it sensitively and appropriately, but equally I'm very keen not to hide it. So occasionally I've had students come up to me and say, are you gay? And I'd say yes, and off they'd toddle. I've had interesting and some more uncomfortable conversations with some students who would say, well, why are you not promoting like white straight men. So my usual comeback to that is, could you tell me when white straight men systematically have been oppressed historically? And they can't answer it. I've been really proud and pleased to diversify curriculums. I led on that in my previous school. I asked to do it in my current school. I'm grateful that there was no hesitation to a yes to that. I'm very proud of the Isle of Wight, and I think, why can't the Isle of Wight compete with the best of the best on the mainland? And I'm trying to facilitate that with young people. I want them to think beyond the shores of the Isle of Wight.
Who supports you in your life?
One of the most important is obviously my husband. My original plan wasn't to have a partner. Once I'd been to events to do with like Isle of Wight Pride, I thought I'd quite like to have some LGBT plus friends. Through Isle of Wight Pride, I contacted other people just to have a cup of tea, or just like meet up or something, like connect with other people. And the plan wasn't to have a partner. That's been a happy offshoot of that. David was someone that even through text was very good at talking, so I thought, well, this person seems interesting to message, and we arranged to meet up. He was late, so that didn't impress me, because I'm quite, obviously as a teacher, like, your life's ruled by time. He was late, and I think we were chatting for a really long time. I think it was about 5 hours I was with him, and I thought I'm probably going to be with him for about half an hour, maybe an hour, because I wasn't very clued up on meeting guys. It just kind of evolved and developed. And aside from him being brilliant, I feel very lucky to have his family as well. They've embraced me. I suppose I'm very grateful to Isle of Wight Pride. So if it wasn't for Isle of Wight Pride, would I have found him? I'm not sure I would have done. I was very nervous introducing David to my family, because David's very important to me, my family are very important to me, but I needn't have been concerned because it all clicked into place very easily. David came to live here in my family home, and I did think, how would that work, because I had to help look after my granddad. Now we've taken over the running of my family home, so I love it. It's an amazing house, amazing location. Whilst it looks a little narcissistic, the big picture in the middle is of our wedding. The photograph is of David and I like signing our new married name. That was a really special day, and it's up there for me, and one of the most important days in my life, the 23rd of October 2021. I think objects are really important to me, so I think I am quite sentimental. One of them is a knitted Jemima Puddle Duck that my grandma made for me, and I think when I was younger I was allowed to enjoy, play with and have things that aren't conventionally boy toys. So whilst I've always loved trains and heritage, I love the steam railway, so there was that side, but also I loved Daisy Duck. I had a Sylvanian rabbit in a skirt, and then obviously there's this special object as well, my Jemima Puddle Duck my grandma knitted for me. So I think the way I'm reinterpreting that is my grandma was saying to me, if you want to like a duck in a bonnet, you like a duck in a bonnet, and that's made me respect and love her even more than I thought was possible. I think another important object that represents my lovely friends Kate and Laura is this t-shirt that says I love the 1980s. So on my 36th birthday, it was a really lovely surprise. I knew I had to be in Southampton at X o'clock, and they said we bought an outfit, and I thought, oh crikey, what have they bought? But it was this amazing t-shirt that said I love the 80s. So we all had matching t-shirts, so it must have been a bit of a spectacle. And they took me to see the Kylie Minogue musical. I love music, I love Kylie Minogue, I always have. I've got this little glass ball that's rainbow colours, and I bought that from the first Pride that I went to on the Isle of Wight. The clock on the like the mantelpiece in here, that's a really special object to me. That was my grandparents' wedding present. They got married in, I think it was 1950, and I think it was second hand when they got it. So it's always been comforting to hear that tick tick of that clock, because the lounge we're sat in now, that's mine and David's, was my grandparents' lounge, and it's always been there.
If you were going to pass on some hopes for a future generation, for young people now on the island, what would your hopes be for them?
I'd want young people to feel included and part of the world, and in order to do that, hopefully they can accept and embrace themselves, which then hopefully in turn enables them to accept and embrace the diversity of other people. I think the world's a better place if you accept, celebrate and acknowledge differences and different identities.